Today was a miserable afternoon, but it finished okay. The lighting sucked. It was raining, but I got it done. The RCF is now hardwired for a radar detector. I used a mirror mount and a mirror mount, a radar mount wire. This is the type of wiring that has the little pin ends that go into the back of the terminals in the plug and gets you the power. Okay, it's a neat setup. Okay, I had this in my ISF and I just transferred into here. You have a jointed mount so you can articulate it any way you want. I ran the wire up under the removable plastic piece that the mirror wire goes under, so there are now two wires under there. So I really only needed one tie just to keep things neat for the wire that goes out of the detector itself to keep a little bit of flop out of it. It functions as planned. The ignition obviously is on now. Turn the ignition off. It goes off. Hit the button once. Nothing. Then the ignition. And here we come. So it's working. I will go through the rest of it in stills, as it may be a little easier to show you than the way it worked because the space was snug and it was hard to even get pictures. This is the mirror mount I used. It clamps on the support rod for the mirror and has two articulating joints on it. And at the bottom, where the radar detector mounts, you order it for your specific detector since they don't all clamp on the same way. It is available on Amazon, as is the wire that will be in the next clip. This is the radar mount wire. The cable has a connector on one end specific for your radar detector. The other end has a black and red lead with a prong on the side that is small enough to fit into the rear of the connector for the mirror. The bezel at the roof line, the large piece slides along the window line so it comes off at an angle. You will then be able to pop that centerpiece once you clear enough of a gap to get your fingers in. That centerpiece slides straight out, and once that's out you can finish removing the larger bezel, and again it slides down along the plane of the window. Here's a shot of the back of the large bezel piece. You can see those two orange receivers there are for the smaller piece, and you can see how they go straight into it. So popping down the smaller piece is very easy. Here's the back of the smaller piece. You can see the two straight pieces that go into those orange receivers on the bigger piece, and if you look closely at the edge you will see two small alignment tabs that slip under the larger piece to seat it properly. Here's the connector from the side. The colors of the wires are off, so don't go by the colors in this picture. The red connector is actually pushed into a slot of the, there are two purple wires at the bottom there, and if you're looking straight on, it would be the one on the right. The ground wire is a green wire, which you can't really see well here. So that green wire is in the middle, and that's where the black connector goes. And then I tape these up to remove the strain. Now both wires at the bottom of the socket there, where the red lead is plugged in, the one on the right was ignition controlled, the one on the left appeared to be 12 volt constant. The ground wire is in the middle, you can't see it in this picture. Also, if you disconnect the connector to access things a little better and see what you're doing, it will no longer carry any voltage, so you will not be able to do a voltage test on it if you disconnect it. So if you plug your wires in or your VOM, you will have to plug the socket back in, or plug the connector back into the socket in order to get a reading. Now here we're buttoning things up. You can see the bezels back on. If you look in the center there, you will see the down rod from the mirror, and there is a wire guide on it. That's what that little clip is. You're seeing basically half of it. It only goes partially around the down rod. I popped that off, ran the wire under it with the other mirror wire, so I did not need to tie it off with a zip tie. And here's a side shot of the mirror mount. It has two articulating joints that allow you to put the radar detector virtually in any position you could want. You then tighten down the thumb screws, and you can go an extra bit with a wrench to make sure they don't swivel out on you. And we're all done. It's in position, locked down the way I like it, and we're good to go. There are two more pictures showing it from this angle at a slightly different distance, and the final picture of it functioning.